Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Now today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. Now obviously we've heard lots and lots of things about the Switch 2 and a reveal is pretty much imminent. We know a reveal is on the way. It could happen any day now. In today's video we're going to be discussing something which I think is actually been kind of forgotten about in the community, and no one is actually talking about this, and that is the price of the Switch 2. Now obviously we know the console's coming, we know it's going to be happening soon, but we don't know what the price is going to be. Now you might be thinking, why are we even thinking about a price? Why does that matter? Well, it's an important thing to think about because we actually don't know what it's going to be, and most of us would assume that it is going to cost a lot more than the regular Switch. So yeah, before we get into this video, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button and liking because it does massively help us out. We've just recently hit 2,000 subs, thank you for your support. But yeah, the Switch pricing. Now obviously the original Switch came out at $279.99, and it's always been that price. It's never really gone up, it's never gone down, it's always stayed the same since 2017. Obviously the Switch Lite came out and that was like $199, so it's a little bit cheaper, but yeah, the Switch 1 has pretty much stayed at the exact same price. I know the Switch Lite, Switch OLED was a little bit more, so obviously there's been a little bit of price change in there depending on what model you want, but for the regular Switch it's always stayed at $279.99. It's pretty much never gone down. Even on like Black Friday, the only thing that really changed was that they included a game or a game with a subscription service for the online. Nothing's really changed with the Switch pricing, so it's been good that Nintendo have actually been able to keep it at that price. But again, you know, the system is 8 years old now, it's been out since 2017. It's time to lower the price, I think, a little bit for the Switch 1. And I fully expect Nintendo to lower the price of the Switch 1 to get rid of stock once the Switch 2 comes out. I can see them doing, you know, the Switch 1 having a sale, maybe it's you know, $199 for the regular Switch and maybe as low as maybe $129 for a Switch Lite. Something super cheap. Nintendo do that when new consoles come out. Of course, when the Switch came out, they actually lowered the 2DS. I believe you could get a 2DS for like $79.99 with a game. It was an absolute steal of a price. But yeah, the Switch 2. That's going to be revealed soon. Switch 1 has always had the same price since 2017. That's $279.99. And we've also seen consoles shoot up in price. Of course, we've had the PS5 Pro recently being announced, and that's why I've kind of made this video, because the PS5 Pro on retail is going to be $699.99 in the UK. It's going to be £699, almost, well, basically a penny off £700. And yeah, it kind of just starts a trend, I've noticed, with the price of games consoles. Of course, the PS5 Pro is going to be very powerful. There's going to be lots of power in there, and I don't think the same amount of power is going to be in the Switch 2, obviously, because we assume that this thing is portable. If Nintendo's new console is portable, I don't really see them, you know, charging more than they would for maybe a Steam Deck or something like that. So of course, looking at the Steam Deck, the cheapest Steam Deck you can get retails for $399.99. So that's the cheapest Steam Deck, that's 64 gig. And of course Valve have things like the sale, and they'll go down to maybe like $359.99, so they do go up and down a little bit, but for the most part the Steam Deck is very powerful, and it's, you know, $399, $359. They're a little bit more expensive than that original Switch, and I would hope that Nintendo kind of go for this price range. For me, I feel like $399 would be a perfect price for a Switch 2. Yes, it's more than the Switch 1, but you know, the trend of more powerful hardware meaning more money, and you know, consoles costing more. I mean, that's a trend across the board. I mean, you know, you get a Series S or a Series X, they're like what? Well, the Series X is like $449, so it's nearly $500 for a Series X. Console prices are going up across the board, so I feel like Nintendo, if they upped it from $279.99 to maybe $399, maybe $450 an absolute push, I feel like that's what some people would spend on the new system. Of course, we have seen Nintendo charge that kind of money before. They charged $349 for the deluxe set of the Wii U, and that was back in 2012, so that was quite a lot of money back then. And I feel like if Nintendo's going to do another handheld console, I feel like the most they can charge is $399, just because of the Steam Deck. I feel like if we go into that like $400 kind of category, that could make the Switch 2 seem quite expensive, especially if the Switch 1 is still on store shelves for like $199. You know, as soon as you reach that 4, I feel like that would be too much. I feel like it could either be $349.99 or $399.99. I feel like as soon as it goes over to 4, that's when things start to appear to be more expensive to the fans. You know, I don't really want to spend more than $400 on a handheld, but that's just me. Because let's just say it is $399. Let's say it is almost $400. For an extra $50, You can get a base PS5, you can get a PS5 Slim for $350, you can get a an Xbox Series X for that price, $50 more. You can get stuff like decent home consoles for less or maybe a little bit more than that $399 price tag. Like a PS5 like Slim all digital is $389.99. You know, will somebody want to pay $399 for a console that isn't as powerful, but they can they can take it anywhere, it's still portable, and it has Nintendo games? Probably. But I feel like once you go over to that $400, that's when things start to get a little bit more expensive. And we have to remember, this thing is going to be a handheld. Well, we can assume that the Switch 2 is going to be a handheld. If it's a dedicated home console, I could see Nintendo charging, $449 just fine. If it's a dedicated box that is decently powerful, charge $449, $499 an absolute push. That's okay. But if we take this as the Switch 2 is definitely going to be like a Switch, just more powerful, in my opinion, the most they can charge, just because of the competitors and everything else on the market, because you have to think that is the main factor really, how this looks on the market. I feel like the most they can charge is $349, $399, but I feel like $399 is the sweet spot. That is, the same price of a Steam Deck. It's still relatively cheap. It's more expensive than the first Switch, but it's not getting to that kind of, it's not starting to go into the full console price tag. It's not starting to go into the Series X price tag. It's not going into the PS5 sort of price tag. Yes, it will be more expensive than the Series S, but you have to think, the Switch right now is more expensive than the Series S, so that's not kind of something that we have to even think about right now. Another thing to think about is things like the ROG Ally, the Lenovo ROG Ally, I believe that's how you say it. That's $699. Now, that has lots and lots of power. I believe it's more powerful than the Steam Deck. It has lots and lots of power built in, and I really think Nintendo won't go for something super powerful here, so I don't think it could be anywhere near anything after 500. I don't see them going for power. I see them going for something that is cheap to produce, but the games will be expensive, if that makes sense. So I feel like the games are still going to be, $59.99, that kind of thing as a minimum, just because that's kind of where the industry's going. But I feel like Nintendo, they currently, like they have for ages really, they've always gone for cheaper hardware, not cheap produced, but like cheaper internals, like weaker hardware, and then made really good games with them. So I feel like, yeah, they're not going to go something for maybe as powerful as the Lenovo ROG Ally. I feel like they'll go something for maybe as powerful as the Steam Deck, maybe something as powerful as maybe a PS4 Pro. That kind of sweet spot there. Nothing too powerful. It won't be as powerful as the Series X. Maybe nearer to a Series S than a Series X. Because yes, we need the power, but do we need as much power that is in a PS5? Because you have to think, the more powerful a games console is, the more expensive it's going to be. Of course, we need the power right now when we play current Switch games, like Tears of the Kingdom that doesn't run great. There's some moments in Tears of the Kingdom where it's like, yeah, we need a more powerful Switch. And there's lots of games where you can see that we need a more powerful Switch. But you have to think, this original Switch is kind of like a PS3 and a 360. That's the kind of level it's on. It's like, it's that kind of generation. Because Nintendo are still getting decent games out of it. So I really do think that, they'll make it like what will seem low power, they'll make it like a PS4, but the games they'll get out of it will look absolutely phenomenal, and you won't realise. I feel like a lot of third-party games anyway are still coming to the PS4, so they could make something that powerful, and because it's a handheld, you wouldn't really notice at all. So yeah, I really don't think that power is a big concern, as long as it is a generation higher than what we currently have. I really don't think people will notice, because at the end of the day, people buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. It's great when they have extra third-party support, especially when, obviously the Switch is portable, you can play games on the go. Third-party support is great, but they basically buy a Switch for those Nintendo games. So that has to be the main reason, and I think just as long as it's a bit more powerful than what we currently have, which, let's face it, the Switch 1 now is very dated. It's hardware from, 2005, it's comparable to a 360 from 2005, it's comparable to a PS3 that, we're now on the PS5 Pro, which is like 2.5 generations better than. So yeah, I feel like we just need a more powerful Switch, hopefully within the price range of $349.99 and $399.99, and I think a lot of people will be happy. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How much will you pay for this Switch 2? How much would you pay for a Switch 2? Would you pay $349? Would you pay $399? Would you pay upwards of $400, $500? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think it needs to be powerful? Do you think it just needs to be a little bit more powerful? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching everybody. Yeah, make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, doing all that other good stuff. And hopefully I will see you in another video. Cheers for watching.